to show free feet in every app. What are we?
Wait,
what are we going to charge for in the Patreon in the future?
We'll put the blanket over my feet.
What if,
but I'm using the blanket.
Put that blanket over my feet.
okay. I was literally about to say that every time Eve sits down to the pod, she immediately pulls the blanket up over her legs and pulls Biter on top of her. It's like
I didn't pull him. He put himself here.
She yanks Biter on top of her while Biter struggles to get away because like she's sheltering from an ice storm. She's like, oh,
It's a little chilly.
it's not that chilly.
A little. You guys.
I agree, it's chilly. That's why I decided to wear a full tracksuit.
Two sisters talk about dumb shit. We hope you like it. Cause if not, then we'll kill ourselves and the blood will be on your hands. Young old.
I'm moving on.
Did you guys know that I had this exact tracksuit when I was like in 3rd grade, but it was green?
Yeah, I had the same one too.
I remember that. I remember that jacket.
It was iconic. It said Queen of the Mountain on the back, and I actually conned my mom into buying it because it was Juicy Couture. They sold it at Nordstrom, but they didn't actually sell Juicy Couture at this Nordstrom. But there had been a return, and the jacket was like kind of expensive, but it was on sale, and I like got my mom to buy it. And then when we got home, she looked at the receipt and she saw that it was expensive, and she like almost tried to return it, but she couldn't because it was already on sale.
Got her.
And I literally
Got
was like,
her
in that
ass.
moment, I was like, thank
Wait,
God.
how did she not know it was expensive when she bought it?
I think she just wasn't paying attention
Just
to
didn't
like
look.
all the items, and then she was like looking over, and she was like, "Oh my God, that jacket was $60," but she couldn't return it because it was final sale.
Got her ass.
But also, it was like a size too small, but it was the only one they had, so I just like convinced myself that it fit.
I had a similar experience of trying to get one over my mom, and it did not work. As I tried to get her to buy me the Assassin's Creed video game for PC because I only had a computer. But as my mom's checking out, she stopped and she goes, "This is rated MA for mature." And then like everyone in the checkout line, it felt like everyone in Target dropped what they were doing and stared at me. He goes,
MA.
This is rated
I'm
MA.
trying to buy MA.
Robert, you're not MA. You're immature.
You're immature.
IMA.
You're IMA.
Immature.
I was like, "Mom, please," and she's like, "No." No.
So you didn't get Assassin's Creed?
No, I didn't get it. I've never played Assassin's Creed to this day.
Aw.
And you thought I've never been through anything. And you thought I've overcome nothing. I've never played Assassin's Creed
Never played it.
because it was
So
MA.
sad.
Because it was MA.
But Dana's living out her childhood dreams by buying the tracksuit.
Yeah.
But you're not going to buy Assassin's Creed.
Well, Robert always talks about how he actively doesn't live out his childhood dreams every time he doesn't buy Hot Wheels at the store.
Well, when I walk by like
Right.
the toy section at Target and I'm like, I could clean this thing out right now. And there was a
And
time
he
in my
doesn't.
life that's all I'd wanted. And now I don't. And it's so sad, you know?
Wow.
But you're letting your childhood self down every time you don't buy yourself like a little toy.
I know. And I don't.
Get Assassin's Creed. Get the Hot Wheels.
It's why I
Yeah.
buy myself like shiny things at the gas station.
Can I say my
What?
college roommate was like into like Legos and Hot Wheels and stuff, and like I would come home. I would come home late, like drunk and tired, and I would step on like a Hot Wheel and hurt my foot. And I'm like, it's like I'm a single father.
yeah,
What
very
is
much
this?
so.
I'm like picking up his Legos, like never picks up his toys after, and it's like I'm 19 years old.
Yeah.
What is this?
You're getting a little sneak preview of
Yeah.
what it's gonna be like to have bebes.
Babe.
Bebes.
I do maintain though at some point in my life I will go through a big video game phase, but it's like the reason I don't do it is because I know it would dominate my life.
You always say that.
You do
but it's
always say
like,
that.
It would literally. I know that if I
Where's
like.
the video game phase?
I'm imagining when I'm like 55 and like it's over. And
What
I
do you
have,
mean it's over?
It's over. I've done
Dude,
it
it'll
all.
just be starting at 55 because we're not Nepo, so we have so much building to do.
Yeah.
You're 55. This is your niche.
This is your niche.
I would
Life is
love
just
to be
beginning at
55.
55.
Gary V.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You're never too old.
Yeah. Right.
Well, as I say, it's that it all depends. You know, you're never too old. But also, yeah, I imagine at 55 when I'm old and there's nothing I need to do, then I'll finally be able to play Assassin's Creed.
55 isn't that old.
Huh?
55 isn't that old.
You're not gonna make Assassin's Creed anymore when you're 55.
That's
Well,
like
it's gonna
the
be
most
like
fucked up thing I've
Robert
ever
only
heard.
likes to play video games that they don't make anymore. Like
Well-
right now, he's really into Madden 08.
Well,
as
the only
guessed in
video
the
game
last-
I've ever played, aside from walking around multiplayer maps of Call of Duty 2, but no internet connection, so it's just me in there. The only video game I've ever played is Madden 2008.
And he has to buy new computers to play Madden on
'Cause
because
they-
only certain kinds of computers
only
support the
PCs will
game.
play it, and only certain ones support it. And it's the only video game I've played ever.
But instead of finding a new game, you'd rather buy like weird laptops.
I literally keep going to Best Buy and buying like $200 laptops just to play Madden on them. I like how I'm like, I couldn't possibly play video games now. I'm too busy and professional and mature. Meanwhile, I'm playing like a football video game from 2008
While we watch Survivor.
while we watch Survivor.
Anyway,
You know, describing a pretty good life, all things considered.
yeah.
Well, Well, I'm in like the top 1% of Candy Crush players. So
And I'm so bad at Candy Crush that I've spent hundreds, if not $1,000 on it, if you count the pandemic.
Well, this is my impression of.
that's impossible.
Dude, I bought so many dainty
She
bundles.
always was buying dainty
and I
bundles. It
would
was
always
a
run
running
out of
joke.
lives. Like I would be playing okay, think about it like this. I was playing Candy Crush probably like during the pandemic, like 10 hours a day because I was just like, always playing it. But I'm really bad.
spent $1,000.
No, Eve, I'm
She
really bad
probably
and I
did.
would
I
always
was-
be
I
running
was
out of
next to her.
lives. And when I'd get sick, so on Candy Crush, if you're familiar, if you want to get more lives, what you can do is you can reset the clock on your phone. So so you can
You're
play in the future.
jailbreaking your own phone so you can play Candy
but, like,
Crush.
my phone would always be like so out of whack and like all my timestamps on everything would be off. And so like sometimes I would just have to cave and buy extra lives on Candy Crush. But like I'd buy these things called dainty bundles and they were like $20.
and she'd do a lot of them.
And I do a lot of them. Like I spent so much money on
Can I-
dainty
can I real
bundles.
quick do
when you're
two-
bad at Candy Crush, it's expensive. When you're good, it's not.
Can
So
I
you would
really
understand.
quickly do
Yeah.
2 impressions for you guys real quick?
yeah.
So impression number 1 is this is Eve playing Candy Crush. Okay, and impression number 2 is this is Dana playing Candy Crush. Oh God! Oh what? Oh, I can't hand me my purse. Oh God! Pretty good.
Like I'm just not good at it.
Yeah, but you're addicted.
Well, I have been, but that's why I have to just stop playing it. Right now, I'm really into a math crossword, which I haven't had to spend any money on.
So
I
far.
remember during the pandemic, I tweeted something about Candy Crush, and then they reached out to me and was like, "Oh, like if you make another post, we'll give you like a bunch of bars, like a bunch of the Candy Crush currency." And I was in like my influencer era, so I was like, "Here's like my management, and like maybe we can work out like a real, you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
I was trying to like get real money from them,
Right.
and then they obviously ghosted my ass, and I was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have been greedy. I should have just taken the bars."
You know what's really funny is a bunch of CW stars. I see ads for this on the other games I play on my phone. But a bunch of like James Lafferty from One Tree Hill, he does like Candy Crush ads just like in his living room. He's
Whoa.
like, "This is James Lafferty from One Tree Hill. I love playing Candy Crush."
I mean, I do though. It's real.
Yeah.
It'd be a real
No,
Do
brand
we even
deal.
know if James Lafferty likes playing Candy Crush?
I bet he does. It's a really fun game. Most people like it.
I will say some of those mobile game ads, though, they'll use like a picture of Mr. Beast, and I'm like, I know Mr. Beast has no idea that he's in this ad right now. It's like Mr. Beast like this, but clearly photoshopped.
Well, James Lafferty is doing the
Or like
video.
Kylie Jenner does a lot of those weirdly.
Yeah.
She does.
Mobile game
I mean, I bet they
ads.
pay her a lot. I mean, okay, now that I'm in my influencer era, I do get a lot of emails from like random apps, like voice cloning apps and like all kinds of just random educational apps. And they really try to get you to put
Have we
their
talked
app.
about this? I've almost fallen victim to several scams where I'll
Oh.
get emails from people pretending to invite me onto big podcasts.
Which I'm like, that is the most diabolical niche scheme I've ever heard
get
of.
it.
That specifically targets
like comedian.
Comedians.
Like I'll get an email being like, Chelsea Handler's podcast would love for you to come in. And the hint that gives it away is this podcast is a pay first opportunity. So we'll pay you $5,000 before you even zoom in and appear on the pod. And clearly that's just so I give them my banking information so they can give me $5,000.
AKA rob him blind.
Yeah.
AKA Robin Blind.
All in the name
of
of-
all $5.
And I got
Take up all the $5 he has to his name.
I got one from Chelsea Handler. I got one from Jordan Peterson's daughter. Now, obviously not the real ones, but they're like, well, after Chelsea Handler didn't work, they're like, we'll come at them from another angle.
Well, and Bad Friends.
Bad Friends, I think, also
Yeah,
sent me a
I'm
fake
just
one.
like,
But, like,
this is
think-
diabolical.
It is.
Yeah.
Also, if you are a comedian and like you think that you're being invited to be on the Bad Friends podcast, that's like really exciting and cool.
That's why it's so diabolical. It's because it's so niche that it sounds real.
It sounds real.
And I'm like, I have a theory that it must be another comedian who is behind this. Because,
I mean, it's
literally
entirely
think it would be.
possible.
because
It's
who
a
else
great
could come
scam.
up with this? Like, who else would be like, that would be a great scam?
Comedians would jump at the opportunity to be on like a big pod.
Yeah.
And so if you and they need money.
Right.
So if you say, we'll give you $15,000 to do this podcast.
I'm thinking about what would be good karmic retribution for whoever is running this scam.
Just know that if you were invited for a paid opportunity to be on Young Old, unless you are, who are people?
McG, Hugh Laurie,
King Charles.
King Charles.
Who was our last one?
Did we had another one.
No, we had another one the other day.
Okay, well, anyways, if you're not one of the people we've mentioned, it's not real.
Yeah.
You're being scammed.
You're being scammed.
But McG,
But McG, if you get one, it's
real.
it's real. It's so real.
Please come on the pod.
Hugh
Please,
Laurie, come
please
on the
write
pod.
Eve another supernatural ending.
Yes, please. Thank
Hugh
you.
Laurie, come be creepy to us as Dr. House.
As Dr. House. I
As
guess
Eve
we should probably change it. Like,
character.
I actually don't want like
No.
esteemed British sketch comedian and Hugh Laurie, I want Dr. Gregory House.
right.
I want to be
Yes.
sexually harassed in an American accent.
Right.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So
Dude, you don't want to talk about like people losing their aura when they don't do their fake American accent. Oh, wait, no, when they do. Okay, so Hugh Laurie, I love his American accent, obviously. I think it gives him extra aura. And
Extra
riz.
aura.
Benedict Cumberbatch loses everything.
oh my god, I hate.
everything.
Why can't Doctor Strange just be British? I don't get
the fact
it.
that Doctor Strange can't just be British, literally.
why?
Okay, also, I didn't know. Like, the first time I saw the first Doctor Strange movie, I had no idea that he was going to be doing an American accent. And I literally am like, imagine you thought he was going to be British and then you've just spent the next 2 hours with like a man you don't know.
It's just a man I've never met. I don't know this
Stranger.
man.
But also, I thought I was getting
why?
Sherlock in Marvel.
Like
Yeah.
why? Like why not just why
Well,
can't
he has
he be
such
British?
a great
Everything.
voice. He has a fantastic voice.
Dude.
But his Doctor Strange is like, hello, Peter Parker.
Like, I don't want that.
Oh, Peter, what? Don't you want to play baseball with me?
No,
Like,
literally.
Get away
Also,
from
I'm
me.
like, here's my thing. I really want him to be Sherlock. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch
Is
should
that
be
ever
Sherlock all
coming
the
back?
time.
They say it's going to come back.
Apparently, Benedict
Oh, didn't they
and
beef or
Martin
something?
have beef.
Have
Yeah.
beef.
Get over
Yeah,
it.
make
Yeah.
up. You're
it
adult
aside.
men.
You're in London. There's nothing else to do.
There's people counting on you.
Like,
Yeah.
we really need this.
You're gonna let the fans down over what? Like your silly little beef?
Also,
Like,
if
come
you
on.
do have beef, then tell us what it is. How about the fans get to
yeah, at
mediate?
least let us
Yeah.
know the drama.
Let us do
Mediate the beef.
Let us do therapy for you.
Let's bring
Come on,
Sherlock and Watson
y'all.
together.
Yes.
It's just so unprofessional. Put your bullshit aside and make some freaking TV.
We want Hugh
Amen.
Laurie to come on Young Old as American character Dr. Gregory House. We want Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman to come on as British characters Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
so we can mediate.
But they should come
their
on, yeah, young old,
disagreement.
so that we can work through their problems
Yeah.
and get them on the set.
Yeah, let's get you
Bring
back
them
to
back
set.
together.
Let's get you back to set.
Let's get you back being Sherlock and Watson. Yeah, it's interesting because speaking of British actors doing American accents, he's got a good one, but the problem is I think it's a little specific is Tom Holland can do a great American accent, but only if he's like doing like a little boy American accent. I've seen him do American accents and other things, not Peter Parker, and he kind of still is doing the Peter Parker.
It's probably the only one he learned.
It's the one he
Yeah.
learned. Of course it is. I mean, he's got a great voice, talks great British, but like even when he's in that, I think the movie's Uncharted, he's like, whoa, we got to get into this tomb. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
what?
actually, it is really funny when you realize that their accent is age specific.
Also, he's supposed to be hot in Uncharted, and it feels
Yeah.
problematic.
It does.
Because
It
he's
does.
still kind of talking like a little boy, and he's supposed to like fuck, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Well, he kind of also has like little boy aura.
He has full little boy aura.
Yeah.
I remember in Uncharted, there's a scene like where they're like beating up the guys on the ship and whatever, and then Mark Wahlberg like punches this like Asian guy in the face and he like falls overboard, and I was like, our audio listeners, I'm making a sus
Yeah.
face.
Art imitating life.
Art imitating
Art
life.
imitating
At its
life.
finest.
Well, that's one of those things, though. It's like you think Mark Wahlberg thought it on the day and was kind of like, should I bring this up? Should I like, hey, we have to, because Mark Wahlberg couldn't be like, hey, can we swap out the stunt guy I punch? And like, oh yeah, why do you want to do that? And he's like,
no reason.
no reason,
But
no
I will
reason.
say, in real life and in the movie, that Asian guy forgave him.
I knew if I brought up the Mark Wahlberg thing, you were gonna come racing to his defense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just like, he was forgiven.
Okay, I get it. Whatever.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I knew you were gonna come racing to his defense.
To Marky Mark's
Because you
defense.
always do it. Every time it's brought up, you
Because
come
I'm
racing to his
I'm a Mark
defense.
Wahlberg apologist because I like Entourage.
You like
Okay.
if you like Entourage, yeah.
If you like Entourage, you are a Mark Wahlberg apologist.
yeah.
I mean, I liked Uncharted. I was just like side eye.
Sorry, I mean that is because again, I'm like you're kind of in it's a catch-22. Because if you don't punch him, that's even weirder.
So true.
Yeah.
What if in the middle of the fight scene, Mark Wahlberg's watching, he's like, you can go, you go, you go, you go. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And everyone's like, hey, Robert, hey, Robert.
You think you're Mark Wahlberg?
I think I'm Marky Mark.
Well, you're Walpert.
You're Wahlberg.
Wahlberg.
You're
Confused.
Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was funny in the YouTube video and the subtitles, like when we're saying Robert, like because it picked up Walpert in the beginning, it starts calling you Walpert in the subtitles.
So you're permanently Walpert.
Later
I'm
on.
doomed on this podcast to never be my own name.
You're Chubbs or Walpert.
Chubbs or
Also, did you know
Walpert.
that Spotify has like AI chapters that they make, and it's like they categorize like what we're talking about?
Oh, I love that.
Like for one, it's like Soul Cycle farts or something. Like
Chapter
it'll-
1.
We just go
Right.
into the chapters,
Yeah.
it's just like poopy salesman, poopy fart, poopy salesman.
Soul Survivor poopy.
Chapter 2, Poopy Part 1. Chapter
Poopy
3,
Part 1.
Poopy Part 2. Yeah. And that's the kind
But
of
it'll be like
podcast.
Bad Neighbors, Soul Cycle farts, poopy survivor. Like those will be the chapters.
Mark Wahlberg punching Asian guy. Well, actually, the Asian guy forgave him.
Well, actually, the Asian guy
Part
forgave
4,
him.
Mark Wahlberg is forgiven.
Yeah.
Wait, let me look at my topics.
Oh yeah. I was also thinking we could do like every episode we could do a little 5-minute interlude where we try to make viral TikTok clips. Like there's that one we could do where it's like you make the face, I make the sound.
What?
What? This is kind of giving. We should go join the White House press briefing.
All right.
Where I'm like, what?
Sometimes I
Where
say
are we
stuff and
going
I'm
with
like,
stuff?
I'm like, surely they'll understand
Well,
what
here's
I
what
mean.
I have. I get a lot of viral podcast clips on My For You, and I've noticed that a lot of the ones that go really viral are these kind of very vague declarative statements that use therapy speak.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's like a one-off statement that's kind of very vague and non-specific, but it uses really kind of definitive therapy speak buzzwords. So, for example, this will be a viral clip that I'll do right now. And if the toxic people in your life don't know they're narcissists, it's because they fear their mirror.
And if you're being gaslit by a manipulator and you get over that, no one will be able to hold you back.
Well, when a true lover girl wakes up in the morning, she knows that the tea will be spilled to cover her tears.
What a weak man you have to be to make a lover girl gaslight you.
If you're being gaslit, but the lover girl's narcissist won't accept the reflection of their own actions, that tea will never be spilled.
If you're being manipulated by a gaslighter, then you are narcissist.
If booba doo bop bop, e poop pop doopy, then you're a narcissist. Eve, wanna have a go?
And if the narcissist
I can't. I've been trying. Every time I'm like, and then I get cut off by another one, and I'm in a loop of rejection, and I'm gonna cry now.
Oh
And
God.
then you'll get a taste of your own goddamn medicine for once.
The problem is that when Dana cries, not to diminish it, but it's such a normal occurrence that it kind of does
But I
lose
want to
its
make
sting.
her feel uncomfortable in the way that she's made
Yeah.
us feel.
But the difference is if Eve or I cries, then we would have to cut the cameras because
Right.
something's gone
Something's
totally
gone
wrong.
really wrong.
about what I have to say.
Yeah. Eve, what's your viral one-liner?
Okay. The most authentic thing you can do as an empath is speak your truth to the non-empaths around you.
As men, we're trained to protect our feelings, but we're never trained to share them.
As women, we're trained to go along with men and gaslight the manipulators that are toxic, and that's why we're empaths.
Okay, I'm done with this.
Okay.
Well,
done with this.
you're done with this
And
until
cut.
all of those clips go super viral.
Yeah,
Okay,
And then
sure.
people tune in thinking we're like an empowerment podcast, and then we're up here talking about poopy.
I mean, it sounds like the suggest button, text button.
Yeah, like word
Yeah.
suggest.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Wait, okay, but my suggestion was that we do the trend where you make the face and I make the sound. So you make
I
a
don't
face
know
and I make a
this
sound.
trend.
that
I don't
goes
know what
along
this
with
trend
No
it.
is.
one
Either.
knows this trend.
What do you mean?
You're like, what do you mean?
young alternators. You'll
It was
know
done by the
it.
influencer girl who has an FDA not approved.
Okay, how
antidepressant
about
Whenever I'm scrolling on my phone, it's like I just obviously get a lot of like random hot girl influencers, and Robert's always like, "Who's that?" And then I'll like describe them. And the other day, Robert goes, "Whenever you talk about them, it sounds like you're a loser at a high school describing the girls that you
popular
really
girl.
want to invite you to have lunch with them,
Aw.
and you're someone who always eats at the stall." in the
You would,
bathroom.
yeah.
I'm
for
like,
real.
who is that? And she's like, oh, she's this really cool girl in my English class. She's dating the football players. They don't like me, but I feel like she would like me. And I'm like, you're pushing 30.
Yeah.
Okay, how about we try to do the trend without knowing what it is?
I love that. So, okay.
Okay, so you make the face, I make the
I
sound.
just make a face and you make the sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eve, count us down.
1, 2, 3.
Oh!
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you're on audio, this is awful.
And if you're on video, it can't be much better.
It's
It
not
can't
much better.
possibly be much
It's not
better.
much better.
There's no way.
Okay, does anyone have any real topics?
Well, I was telling you guys about my really traumatic biology class.
Yes.
Yes.
Which has just been plaguing me ever since. Because I talked about before how it's traumatic, how we had to talk about, like, we had to write down everything we were, like, eating in a day and stuff. Also, it's like, I'm under the impression this is a science class, not like a let's study your fatty little habits, fatty. and
What if it was called Let's Study Your Fatty Little Habits Fatty 101?
And it's like that's the last required class I have to take. I'm like, oh man. Okay, but basically, things really came to a trauma head this last class when we had to weigh ourselves in the class. It was a cardiovascular assessment. She has slides going that it's like one is somebody measuring their stomach with like a tape measure as a demonstration for what we are going to be doing. We had to do like our body fat percentage, our blood pressure, etc. And we had to weigh ourselves. There was this scale in the back, and it's like, I guess, you know, you don't have to, like, people don't have to look at what your weight is, but they could.
They could.
But they could.
And
But
you
they
just have to weigh
could.
yourself basically in full view of the entire class.
Yeah.
It's not in front of the entire class, but it's
like,
in full view of the
but, like,
entire
you
class.
can look.
Yeah.
And then you have to like answer questions that are like, does this number concern you? Yeah.
Does this number concern you?
Is your waist number concerning you? Does your blood pressure concern you? Are you concerned?
Eve, were you concerned?
With some of them. A lot of them. Also, because it makes you do a hypothesis at the beginning of like, how do you think you're gonna fare in these
What if your
tests?
hypothesis is I'm straight up gonna kill myself? Let's see.
Honestly, and I was like, oh, I think like, you know,
Did you have to guess what your numbers would be?
No, you don't have to get, but you
Okay.
have, but essentially you did because you had to say like, what do you think your cardiovascular risk is? Do you think it's
Yeah.
low? Do you think it's high? And then at the end you had to be like, is your hypothesis right? And then you had to be like, no.
You had to be like, I'm a really high risk.
I also hate hiding. I hate hiding behind like it's for your cardiovascular health. It's like no, you're trying to make everyone feel like a fat little piggy. Like it's like when people in the comments will be fat phobic, but they'll try to hide behind. I'm just worried for them because it's really unhealthy. It's like you
Yeah,
don't if,
right.
if this person met your beauty standards, you would not care that it was unhealthy.
That's so real.
You're just saying that as an excuse to be mean.
Yeah, people always say this too, where it's like, yeah, like plus size models, people are like, oh, they're hot because they have like the right weight distribution.
Yeah.
You know?
True. No, and so also because I'm already on my health and fitness journey, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need these numbers thrown in my face when I'm already working.
And Eve is like getting an eating disorder because the other day she got her coffee light sweet light cream.
And that's eating disorder territory.
and
And
That's, like,
everyone
really
in
concerning
Phil's
to
stopped
me.
what they were doing and stared at Eve.
yeah.
Because usually she gets full sweet, full cream.
Yeah.
So it's clearly impacting her mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, well, this was before. Well, but that was after
You
she
had
made
started
us
the class
Yeah.
already.
Yes, that was
and you
after
were
she made us,
documenting what you were, and
yeah,
you said you were like, I'm getting light sweet light cream because I'm also getting a chocolate croissant already.
in your-
but you never made that compromise before.
I hadn't.
You start to order full sweet, full cream, and in your head you just hear, "Are you concerned about that?
No,
Are you
yeah.
concerned? Are you?"
No, it definitely has impacted me.
Well, that's also
That's so
This
sad.
class has impacted me.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's brutal. And I was saying that like, and
Also,
she was,
our teacher weighs like 2 pounds. Yes, she's recovered last year from breast cancer. So,
okay. Well,
But I will
you
say
might
she-
have to let her go on that
but
one.
she is like 2 pounds.
not to out our grandma, but our grandma did teach nutrition.
And she's also 2 pounds.
and she's also 2 pounds.
Bro, you just outed your grandma.
And it does seem like a lot of these professors are like
weigh 2
who weigh 2
pounds.
pounds are trying to like let you know how much you do not
Also,
weigh 2
I
pounds.
don't think this is science. That's not what science is,
literally
dude.
how
I
I
don't
feel.
think
I'm
this
like,
is what science
I'm
is.
literally like, this can't be relevant.
Science is like the study of. Isn't biology like the study of the natural world?
No, biology is the study of the
Well,
human
this is
body.
human biology.
Yeah, human
Yeah.
biology.
Specific-
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Also, it's like everything I know about like scientific conclusions. It's like Albert Einstein wasn't like writing theses like the cookies will go right to my thighs. It's like no, that's not
Albert
science.
Einstein became a scientist because he wanted to be snatched.
Yeah.
we're gonna do an exam on this unit, and it's gonna be like, "Are you fat?
Yeah. Are you
Are
fat,
you
though?
sure? Are you concerned about being fat?
Yeah.
Am I skinnier than you?
Yeah.
Am I skinnier than you?
Are you
And
gonna
this is the
die
lady who
really
told you you couldn't
soon?
drink water?
Yeah. Well, because like
Chemicals?
chemicals.
But I'm like, what chemicals? You're just being
Yeah.
told you're fat.
She's
That's
like,
the
it's-
she's like,
class.
yeah, you can't eat or drink in here.
She's like, you
I'm
know,
like, because the chemicals. She's like, no.
there's carbs in water.
Well, Eve was also saying they had to get their body fat measured, and I was saying
Oh
that
yeah, body fat percentage.
that took me back to when I was in eating disorder patient treatment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that happened.
I didn't mean to.
You're wondering how I ended up here.
So I was anorexic. I remember I unlocked a memory of getting calipered by my nutritionist.
The
and if
caliper
you
are
don't
like
know,
the tongs?
calipers are like tongs
Just
that
the
they
name
literally
alone
use
is
to
like-
grab your fat chunks. to,
Even
like,
me
measure
doing
your
that just
body
now
fat.
didn't like it at all.
And then I remember the first time I got calipered, I like didn't have enough fat for her to even caliper, and she's like, "That's not good." And then the next time I went back, and I had gained a lot of weight in a short amount of time because I was like doing refeeding. But what happens when you're really anorexic and then you gain a lot of weight in a short amount of time is it all goes to like weird places.
Oh.
So I still had no fat to grab on like my arms or my legs, but I had a bunch of fat just concentrated in my back. And so the way that she was like calipering my back like literally
this is
made me
making me,
cry. Where she's like, "Oh, we've got some stuff back here," while she tongued my back.
We've got
fat.
some stuff
This is
back
so.
here.
This is so.
It was so
traumatic.
traumatic.
Not to equate them on the trauma
Yeah.
scale, obviously, but I almost had the opposite problem where, like, before freshman year of high school, I was kind of chubby and I didn't have a lot of friends. So that summer,
So, like, now.
That summer, I went on a workout journey where I changed my whole diet, started working out every single day, showed up to the start of sophomore year, having not seen anyone all summer, looking like literally like jacked as hell and totally shredded, only to pretty immediately discover that, wouldn't you know it, that wasn't the reason I didn't have a lot of friends. I
Nobody
literally
fucked with them
I thought
still.
like, oh, the problem was my body, and kind of in like a body positivity when my entire class was like, oh no, we were cool with that.
We just hated your personality.
It was the inside. I
You
literally
won't stop doing poopy bits.
I
we
was-
can't stand it.
Yeah, I was like, the problem with this poopy bit is that I don't have a six pack.
I just need to be hot to do the to pull off the poopy bit.
Yeah. If anything, kind of like a little chubby kid making poopy jokes is at
Yeah.
least kind of funny. It's very Kevin James. But when you're shredded talking about poopy, you seem like a serial killer.
Right.
Oh, I do think like being a little fat and ugly is what made other people realize that I was trying to be funny. I think for my whole life, no one even realized I was trying to be funny. Like they just thought I sucked or something.
That is something I like to tell myself whenever I absolutely bomb. I'm like, it's because I'm too hot.
I'm too hot.
smoking,
Oh.
bruh.
But that's
Yeah.
the truth. The
Yeah.
truth is that when you're hot, people don't want to believe you're funny on purpose.
I'm walking around to
okay?
people at parties and I'm like, hey, what if on Survivor you told people you sold poop for a living? And they walk away and I'm like, it's because I'm a 9. It's because I'm a
freaking
9. Isn't it?
Because I'm a 9.
I did see people being like, salesmen have been targeted on Survivor though, so
Well,
maybe poopy salesman
Okay, but we
isn't
also
the
realize
best.
every single person thinks their job is a target because right now there's a cop on the season we're watching,
Yeah.
and he like didn't want to tell anyone he was a cop.
No, so everybody thinks that their job is like the
they
most
think-
intelligent, big brain,
Well, it's like
threatening
how,
job.
like, we would think. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell anyone I'm a podcaster.
They're gonna be like, oh, she's too good at talking. She's too good at convince. She's an influencer. She's gonna influence us.
I see, I'd be too embarrassed because I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm an Instagram sketch comedian. And they'd be like, oh, we don't need to vote him out. We'll keep him around to the end. I'm like, are you guys sure I'm not a threat? And they're like, trust me, buddy, you're not a threat to do anything ever. But the cop was also like, yeah, you know, I'm a cop and I don't want to tell people that because if they know I'm a cop, they'll know I'm really like strategic and smart. It's like,
People don't think that about cops.
your perception of cops is insane.
It's wild.
I
But that
be-
was the year 2014, and I think people had a different view of cops back then.
Yeah. There's also
Right?
I mean, I
Yeah, I
believe so. It's hard for
suppose.
me to understand. I don't know. I really don't know anything about anything. I mean, I'm,
Also, we are definitely in like a weird anti-cop liberal bubble
yeah.
where like Robert and I like would never call the cops on anyone, even if they were.
Well,
one
famously, we literally were pulling out of our driveway, and there was an unhoused person who was
An
who was-
unhoused person.
who was well, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to be cheering? It's like, and there was an unhoused person.
No, but it's just like how
he
you
was
were thinking of the right
building-
terminology.
He was
You were like,
building a bonfire of garbage. Like he was taking things out of trash cans and he was building like a big mound and he was lighting it on
He
fire.
also looked kind of scary, like he was wearing a cloak. He had a really
Well, it was almost a
sinister
wizard
energy.
vibe.
Yeah.
Well, that was another reason. It's like, we
he
don't
didn't just
know.
look like unhoused. He looked like maybe he was doing a ritual or
I
something.
can't decide if this
A
is making
curse?
this more or less problematic,
I'm not
so I'm going to
sure.
breeze through.
Yeah.
So he was literally building a bonfire, and it was like smoking with black smoke, and it was like big. And Dana and I were both like in full like liberal like online lib mode. We're
Yeah.
like, well, that's fine.
Well, he's not hurting anyone. He's just making a
big
fire.
fire, I
What?
mean-
He can't make a fire. This is a public street.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen lots of people building fires there.
That's normal.
they were ultimate Twitter brain rot.
Yeah.
And then as we were like driving by, our
neighbor-
neighbor's daughter, who was like younger than us, but she
Yeah.
rolled down her window and she went, "Don't worry, I'm calling the cops."
And we're like, thank God.
we're like, oh, thank God.
oh, thank God.
swooped into the
Yeah.
rescue to
We're
save
like,
them.
thank
Yeah.
God someone's not so like
Yeah.
lib brain.
Like, so chronically
Because we
online.
are,
We
and we're too far
are.
gone.
We're too far
were like,
gone.
we were like, it's
too far
actually
gone.
problematic to call the cops. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, nothing.
Well, it's like, it is the way where I know that if I'm being mugged, I'm like, oh my God, like
They need it more than me.
They need it more than
They
me.
just need it. It's the stomach.
It's a stomach.
If I'm being mugged, I'm like, please, somebody come and help me. Unless this mugger makes less than $20,000 a year. If they make above that, stop them. Below that, it's fine.
Fine.
Another thing weird about biology class is that there's like real human skeletons in the room, and I'm like, that's actually crazy that was a dude.
That's
That was
really
a full
crazy.
guy, dude.
Like that's just like and that's such like a typical like science classroom skeleton, but it's like
But it's a real human skeleton?
yeah, but
Yeah,
they
that's
all,
what they use
most
them
are
for.
like
People donate their body to science. Where do you think it goes?
most classrooms do have real
I
skeletons.
didn't think
in
like
them.
community college biology class constituted like donating your body to science.
Can I be honest?
don't think so
think
either,
science
but-
classes need to have a skeleton.
I thought
They
it
all
was
have
weird.
skeletons, and none of them. When has that ever
I
come up?
thought it was weird too. I was like,
It's
my
like we
God.
can Google it.
oh my God, that's a man.
That's a full man. That's a full man.
That's a man.
That really is perturbing.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's also embarrassing because that's like the one person in the class who isn't concerned at all about their body weight.
Literally.
So skinny.
Skinty.
Goals.
They're like, this should be what you're working towards.
Goals.
And
Yeah.
she points
We
towards
Fit
it.
is like,
points to him.
when they step on the scale.
Your teacher walks up to the skeleton with the tongs and the calipers, like nothing.
Nothing
To grab. No
What if
stuff
the
to
teacher was
grab.
like standing by the scale, like providing commentary? Good.
Well, she provided commentary when I gave her my like finished assignment, and she was like, yeah, I mean, some of the numbers, like, they're different. Like, she was trying to like comfort me,
Whoa.
and I was like,
She felt like she had to give you a pep talk after getting her numbers back.
exactly.
Again, I'm like, whatever happened to like, mitochondria?
No,
You're like,
powerhouse
whatever
of the
is the
cell.
powerhouse of the
Literally,
cell.
what happened to mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
What went
oh my
wrong?
gosh! You know what? In my bio class, we had to make a model of the cell out of like any kind of material we wanted, and I chose Jello. And then I brought in my project, and whatever, I got an A on my project. But
And whatever, look at an A, it
I
doesn't
left
matter.
it there, and it got so moldy because I used Jello, and so I had this moldy ass model of a cell that I had made of Jello.
Yeah, I mean, I did that. I brought in, we had to make something of the cell, and I brought in just like I brought in like a mountain of diarrhea, and I got an F because you can't do that. It's a huge health hazard, and don't even know why I brought that up. Really low moment for
And
me.
then the poop got moldy, and then
Poop
like
got
this, like,
moldy.
moldy.
When I was,
moldy
and people
poop.
hated me, but I was jacked, so it was really.
I was jacked, and I was like, I'm so confused. I'm like,
mold.
I don't think so.
it definitely doesn't get better with time.
I feel like it dries.
I don't know if
because
it
biters poop
molds.
on the yard.
Yeah, it just gets really
dries
dry.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it starts tasting real weird after a day or so. Like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't make it gross. We went there. Dude, I'm like, there has to be an episode where we can just not mention poop. the whole
You
time.
always do it.
No,
you
it's not
always-
just me. You guys do it. Also, Eve brings up poop as often as I.
I haven't said anything about poop. Not once.
Are you kidding? Wait.
But you set us up.
You set us up, dude.
set us up by what
saying the us making a cell out of any substance.
What are we supposed to
Come
do?
on! That's a perfect setup.
Come on, it's perfect. It'd be weird if we didn't.
This is why your mom didn't buy you Assassin's Creed, because this is
you're
not very
immature.
MA of you.
Because you're so immature.
Okay, I'm gonna cut the cameras. I'm feeling really unheard. I'm feeling
I'm in a
really
loop of
rejected. I'm in a loop of
rejection.
rejection.
She's pissed every time we bring up the
Yeah, she's like, it's not funny.
Well, because you're making me like relive a low moment. That's not kind.
It was a low moment for us too.
I wasn't a high point.
I hope you know, like how you were presenting on the outside was how I felt on the inside.
Is that true?
It was a horrible, horrible time for me.
Better or worse than stepping on the scale in front of your classmates?
Bruh. Also, it's like we have all our shoes and clothes on.
I always think about that. Shoes
I'm
and clothes
like-
add like 10 pounds.
Exactly.
That's not fair.
And so I'm like turning around to everybody being like, but I have my shoes and clothes on. But I have my
jacket's
shoes and
really
clothes
heavy.
on.
I mean, I always
You
say.
step on the scale and then you just start furiously stripping. Like, this is wrong. It's too heavy.
oh my God,
okay,
wait.
to weigh yourself. I'm like, okay. So I'm taking off all my clothes.
One time I went to the doctor and I had all my shoes and clothes on, and I was like about to take my shoes off, and the nurse just goes, "You know what? Just step on with your shoes on. I'll take off." What? 7 pounds, and then she winked at me.
Brutal.
Yeah.
You should have thrown hands.
Kind of funny. I mean, we had a little laugh.
We had a little laugh. And then you went to your car and screamed as loud as you could.
Right.
Right. I told someone recently, I don't weigh myself, and I don't, like, when I like go on runs, I don't time myself, and I don't even I have no measurable, so I never weigh myself. And I told that to someone recently, and they were shocked. They're like, well, then how do you know if you're fat or not? How do you know? I'm like, I don't know. I'm still me. I just don't need the numbers.
I'm like, that's none of my bit, which is why I hated this assignment so much. Because I'm like,
well, it's so weird because I'm like, to this day, when I get weighed at the doctor's office, I have to, okay, this is really embarrassing. When I get weighed, I have to have like 10 minutes before they do my blood pressure after I get weighed because I get so anxious stepping on the scale that my numbers always spike so high. So when I get my blood pressure done, it's really high. No. And so like literally the nurse last time basically was like, oh, I can tell it's making you really anxious and that's why your vitals have spiked. She's like, so I'm going to leave you here. And she literally turns off the lights and plays soothing music and made me sit in a room by myself for 10 minutes and then came back to do my blood pressure.
You're always getting soothed by strangers in public.
No, that's so real. That's so real. But I
have
had
an energy.
I had the same theory when we were doing the assignment.
Yeah.
We did the BMI, we did the weighing and the BMI and the waist thing first.
Yeah.
And then right after that was the blood pressure.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's why my blood pressure's so fucking high.
No, that's
It's 'cause you
true.
stressed me out with the BMI and
Yeah.
waist
But I
thing.
realized that. I realized that like I am someone who gets so anxious before I get weighed because of my trauma.
Right. No, I thought the same
it
thing.
always spikes my vitals.
I thought
And
the same
It
thing.
spikes them significantly.
Also,
like
she
really
separated
a lot.
you from your Stanley, which is like taking a
That's
child
so
from its
real.
mother.
That's so I'm already at a raised rate.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can't do the blood pressure right after the public weighing. It's gonna be skewed.
I think you can't do a public weighing. That would be my
public
note.
weighing.
You can't do a
She
public
was so
weighing.
casual about everything. She's like, okay, so then you'll be doing your weight, and there's a scale back there, and there's a tape measure to your waistline, and like.
I feel like I must be missing something. Like, how is this science?
Literally,
How did this count?
literally exactly the questions I be asking every time I'm in that room.
But what's like so psychotic is like I remember doing something like that when we were in 5th grade. And I'm like, that's also like, what do you mean you're doing that to 10-year-olds? It's bad enough to do it to like 22-year-olds.
It's like a weird power trip.
It's so
so
crazy.
weird.
It's such a
I
strange
mean, I
power
always
trip.
thought it was like a.
I'm
I can't even
literally
find the
like,
words.
I literally feel like, especially like kids or whatever, I'm like, I think there's no need to weigh them.
I would agree.
I'm like, why?
I've never seen any.
You can look at them.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Eyeball it.
Eyeball it. I also think in
fat,
general.
I always think this too, where like fat kids know they're fat. Okay, this is also something I would always think, where like when I was like hitting puberty, I noticed that people started to try to make me think I was fat, but I realized that when you're objectively fat, people don't even really call you fat. People love to call people fat who are like almost fat because they want to see if they
Like
can
the
like
We
convince
Fit.
you. It's all about the can I gaslight you into believing this like unflattering half truth.
Or people
That's
are
what
so
it's all
obsessed
about.
with like the almost. People are like,
Yeah,
you're getting
getting
there.
there.
People are
Oh,
obsessed
you're
with the
real
almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're teetering the line.
But I think it's because they want to what? Dim you, make you small,
Dude.
make you shrink yourself because they're intimidated by
so
your beauty
real.
and light. And
Yeah.
That's
radiance.
so real.
They say you need to physically shrink yourself, but what they mean is you need to spiritually shrink yourself.
that
That's
we're clipping
not
that.
gonna
We're
work.
clipping
Clip it up,
that.
clip it up,
We're clipping
clip it up,
that.
clip it up.
That one's going viral.
That one's go. That
Yeah,
one's
that one's
blowing up
blowing
big
up.
time.
And by the way, throughout this, if ever someone says something that could be clipped, we have to react just like that.
right. Oh yeah. So then another thing. So I went skiing this past weekend, and I was like, we really need to get Robert out on the slopes because not only does he, hold himself back from having fun, he also brings Dana down with him. Because last time when we went to Mammoth, literally they did not ski once because freaking Frady McFrader cat over here.
Well,
is
Robert
like-
thinks skiing is a conspiracy.
Yeah, he does.
I think skiing is a conspiracy created by poor people to trick
my
rich
God.
people into willingly killing
So
themselves.
you're poor. So you're saying you're poor.
No, but I'm saying that I'm not
You're
going
a
to
rich
fall.
person who's not going to fall.
I'm
for
not going
it.
to fall for the trap. I'm not going to fall into that class war. I'm
Even
going to
though you
stand on
look
the
like
sidelines.
a ski, like from Johnny Capahala.
I mean, even though I look like an evil ski.
But
that's
it's
also-
just like it's just so disappointing that you also drag Dana down with you because then she doesn't get to be out there.
Also, but for me, the thrill doesn't come from skiing. The thrill comes from walking around the ski lodge and finding people and saying, I didn't know they let garbage this high up the mountain. And I just do that. And that's my rush.
You know not skiing, but
Being
looking
evil.
down on
I do
others.
want to get Robert on the skis. Also, I think
I'll
he'd be
get
good
on the
at
skis.
it.
I'll get on the skis.
He's good at
Say
learning
that,
things.
but-
He's athletic.
My only
No, I'm sure you'd be
But
great.
here's
I'm sure you'd do just
here's
fine.
Robert's proposition. If Eve wants him to
Oh,
learn
man.
to ski,
Well, okay.
man.
Well, here's my proposition. My proposition is I'll learn to ski and
Oh,
I'll ski.
jeez. Oh,
If Eve
jeez.
will, for the love of God, co-post a young old reel.
Eve refuses to help promote the
Refuses.
podcast on her personal
I'll
socials.
promote it. I post on my story.
But
Yeah?
you won't co-post reels. It's good. It's free content. It's free
It's
engagement.
and you don't post
Because-
anything else,
and I
and you can
said-
hide it from your
Listen,
grid.
and I told them it's because every clip they post of me, it's me being like poopy poopy, fart poopy.
We didn't make you say those things.
But this is also what I mean when we.
And I said,
an at-will
I'll do- I said I'll repost a clip as long as it's just like a 30 seconds to a minute of me going like this. Of me just serving straight looks.
Yeah.
Blue Steel.
If you're on audio, you may want to check this out.
When we see a viewership spike of just that
Yeah.
moment. Yeah, Eve's basically like she can't have it alter her image.
Yeah.
And her image, as we've talked about, is a catfish because her Instagram, all the pics are like her in New York City, like holding up a chocolate cake, like dinner with the girls, confetti emoji.
Well, we were saying, and no offense, but like your Instagram sometimes gives like millennial in 2015.
Well, I am trying to bring back that era. That's
Yeah.
why I've
No,
been
it's
using,
iconic.
Well,
I like
it's great
it.
times in the big city.
Yes.
I've
And,
been
and
using
it's, and it's
the,
too,
the
like,
classic Instagram filters because that's
Yeah.
like what I used when I first got Instagram and like.
So am I.
Yeah, I
Not to
love
be like.
I'm not.
Okay.
So am I.
Me too. I'm trying to bring back that era as well. Someone I've never mentioned that era
Just
before.
like okay. But I am going for that millennial 2015 look. So
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's actually exactly what I was going for.
It's on purpose.
So actually, that was an intentional choice. So
It was.
So
It was an intentional
I'm rubber, you're
choice.
glue. Bounce off of me, stick to you.
Whoa, Gotti.
Yeah, but I'm
Whoever
also
came up with that.
I mean, that's a real god.
Bars.
Yeah.
Mom taught that to me when I was in second grade.
Oh, because you were getting bullied.
Yeah.
oh god.
But you can't actually say it. That's what I realized to like other people.
I'm rubber, you're glue.
You just have to think it to
You just
yourself.
have to think it to yourself. Yeah.
You're glue. That's here's the about that phrase. It's made 0 people feel better ever, and parents keep bringing it
Right.
up. It's O for
did.
10 million, and
I think
they
I
keep
did say
bringing it
that
up.
to somebody once, and they were like, "What?"
Yeah.
because you kind of have to like explain it.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those
Yeah.
things you don't really get right away. You're
Yeah.
like, "What?"
Yeah.
So
I'm like, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and
Wait.
sticks to you. And then they're like, even though you're in shape, we still hate you and we always will. And I'm like, I'm rubber. You're glue.
okay, but back to the
Wait,
skiing.
okay.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like if Robert doesn't want to ski, he could maybe perform, like do an open mic at the lift at the base of the
Yeah.
lift.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then that way we can just see him every time we come down to the lift.
And I'm there to entertain.
But I was
he's
also thinking he could do like he could roast skiers and
Right,
the reporters that pass
right.
by.
Yeah, which is now we're just working our way back to my original thing, which I just walk around and I just look at people and shake my head over a
right,
glass
but
of
you're doing
Merlot.
but you're doing it at the
Well, I'm down
at
to
the
ski. I
base
probably
of the
will because you
mountain.
have to live life. But my only thing that really, I never
You'll
get
be
over this about
fine.
skiing is so many people are like, "Oh, skiing, it's the best, it's the greatest." Anyway, I'm still waiting for my meniscus to be repaired because I shattered it on the slopes last fall.
Listen, you got to be a child born into money
Yeah.
who is then trained to ski as a kid, and then that way if you fall as a kid, which isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And then that way you don't
Or
fall
if
as
you
an
fall as a
adult.
kid and it is a big deal, they have the money to just like send you to a facility in Sweden where they never need to see you again.
Exactly.
So,
because I didn't fall at all this past time.
And I
Yeah.
recently got out of the
But
facility in
your
Sweden.
your twin, yeah.
yeah.
And your twin sister Gertrude did fall, and that's why we haven't
And
seen
that's
her.
why we don't see her.
Although I've been getting letters written in Gertrude's hand that are vaguely threatening.
Oh,
Oh well, I'm sure that'll be nothing.
sure, that's nothing.
My only thing with skiing though is also not to be a downer, it killed the mom and Parent Trap. Just saying.
Oh.
Killed
That
the Mom
was
and Parent
really
Trap.
sad.
She fell. She hit her head skiing. Popped up and said everything's fine,
That's
and then died
actually
later.
part of a conspiracy. A
wait, in
Hollywood
real life?
conspiracy.
In real life, it killed her. Yeah. But anyway, we know someone who was in their mid-20s, a friend of ours, and she's great. She's super nice. She's got a great job. She's got a great life going on. And she went skiing, shattered like every bone in one of her legs.
Yeah.
Had to like get like so many surgeries in a row. Had to like rehab for like a year. And then also it's like one of her legs is permanently shorter than the other. And I'm like, these are supposed to be the best years of your life. And this is you're spending like a year and a half learning to walk again.
Yeah, it's not the vibe.
And then she would like, you know what I mean? And it sucks. It sucks. You have it blows.
I mean, look, you're making a good case, but that being said, you need to stop holding her back from the
Well, I
slopes.
also I did do the thing where I was like, Dana, you can go ski. I'm cool. But of course, when you say that, Dana's gonna want to hang out. Dana's gonna want to chill.
Okay, here's my thing too. Skiing, there's already so many obstacles to getting on the mountain. Like skis are heavy. You're bundled up. You have limited mobility. There's like a lot of deterrence that like also when the person that you want to hang out with most doesn't want to go anyway.
Right.
It's like easy to be like, oh, I'll just skip it. Cause like like no, it's not fun. Also, ski boots are uncomfortable as frick.
Right.
Like there's so many elements that
But
are like
once you're up there,
Once
and
you're up there,
going
it's
down
super
the
fun.
mountain, it's a good
No, I know. It's
fun.
exhilarating, and
I
I
think
do
it's-
love skiing, and I'm a great skier.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot like kind of posting reels on Instagram where you have this fear and you see it not work out for other people, but then you see other people who it works out for, but you're like, that surely can't be me. But then you do it and you post more and more, and suddenly it's a rush.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's actually the perfect metaphor.
Do you think you would be a boarder or a skier?
Can I be honest? I think I would be a boarder.
Okay.
Can I? Because skiing
mean, if
just
I
kind of
were to,
seems
like-
less cool to me than boarding.
Oh, well, there's that. There's the cool factor.
But also, I feel like I'd be better.
Well, no, I just like, if
I
I were
really
to
think you'd be better at boarding.
I don't know why. I feel like I feel
All
like I'd be clunkier with skis than board.
If I were to choose one for the first time, I think I would choose boarding because the shoes like are way more comfortable.
Yeah, and
I
also
freaking hate
the board
walking
is lighter than skis.
Yes, everything with the equipment is
And
just
you don't
like
have poles.
easier. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
but
again-
obviously I already know how to ski, so it's like I'm not gonna like start from square one. Like F
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But if I was starting from the beginning, I would probably choose snowboarding.
Yeah.
I'm like so much better at skiing that every
Right.
time I have boarded, I'm just like, it's not as fun.
Yeah, like why would I
Like,
why would I start from square one
yeah.
at this point?
when you have this skill built in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
But again, I mean, that has always been my hesitance is when people are like, hey, why don't you ski? Because I'll be looking at them and they're in a full body cast. Maybe that's why. When am I going to ski? When are you going to get out of the
also,
iron lung?
I would definitely be scared to start like if I'm you and I'm doing this for the first
Oh, it's
time.
terrifying.
Like
I
I'd
can't
be
even
really
imagine starting this
scared.
at all.
I'd be really
Well, I
scared.
also realized I remember exactly when the switch flipped and I went from being like totally confident skiing to being like, oh, this is kind of dangerous.
Right, because when you're
Like,
a kid, you
when
don't
you're
know.
a kid, you
Your
actually
parents
have
are just
no
like, okay, this is what you're doing, and you're like,
conception of this.
okay,
right. But like the second I turned 25, I swear I was on the mountain. I was like, oh, this is like scary. Like I could die here.
Right. No, but
And
this
that's
like
crazy.
trip reinvigorated my confidence because I'm like, oh, like I fucking rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
I'm fucking shredding.
Yeah,
bitch.
she's freaking shredding.
And
bitch.
also, I got a new outfit when I was there because, okay, famously, I took Dana's ski outfit, and it was like it already fit me ill like previously, but it like fit me extra ill this time. I was bursting out of it. I was busting out of it. So the first day, I was like, "This is not working. Like, we need
your
to get a new
biology teacher
outfit."
made you try on the ski outfit.
No, literally.
Oh,
She was like, doesn't fit, does it?
Does that concern
Does that
you?
concern you? Does that concern you a
Concern
little
you?
bit?
What changes could you make so that you could fit into the ski outfit?
And you're like, I could buy larger clothes. And she's like,
Anyway.
Anyways, then I bought larger clothes. Say it with me.
they were really
Say it
cute.
with me. Bought larger
Bought larger
clothes.
clothes.
And they're really cute, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to wear them again.
It's
So
like- also not even in Eve's defense, there's no need for a defense. But like that the ski clothes that she borrowed were children's size.
yeah,
Yeah.
because Dana
So
bought them.
yeah. But
and she loves to buy
I'm sure
children's
Dana
clothes.
doesn't even fit in them as well as she pretends to. She's like, can you believe they're for little children and I can fit in them fine? It's like, Dana, your face is beat red. No.
Okay.
Lamo.
Anyway, Eve and I, when we'd ski together, we were honestly like a really lazy ski duo, and we had this like joke that we thought was really funny because our parents would be like, "You have to ski, like you have to ski," and we'd be like, "Yeah, we're gonna ski." Meanwhile, we take their credit card and we just like go sit in like lodges and like
Wow,
eat
yeah.
and like drink whatever. But
You
our
see, I
joke.
love that.
No, I mean we still do that.
But our
still do
joke
that.
was that
We would
they'd
do
be
the
like,
run twice.
Yeah, we would do a one run twice, and then when our parents would ask, "Oh, what runs did you do today?" We'd be like, "Oh, we did this run again, over and over,
Over and over.
Technically true.
Laugh and laugh and
over
laugh.
and
Technically
over."
true.
and we would think it was so
And we thought that
funny.
was so funny.
Even now, you're cackling about your little play.
Because it's a gaudy.
Deeply
That's
funny.
good fun.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Because it's a gaudy.
No, I'll learn to ski. I'll ski. I'll do it. Because you gotta
Yay.
live life. That's
But
also
are you gonna
another thing
post
where
a
it's
reel?
Also, we can you could just we'll do a little bunny hill. We'll start small.
Well,
Start
here's
small.
my also thing. It's like I'd want to get good, but also I do believe I'd get good pretty quick.
You
I
would
think
get
you
good.
I think I get
you'd
good
kill
pretty
it.
quick.
I think you'd kill it.
Well, I do tend to pick things up like that.
Yeah.
I follow,
I'm sure you do
because I
great.
follow instructions and I give full effort.
He does.
And I'm able-bodied.
I mean,
luckily.
I'm sure you would
Robert
do
went to a hot
just
yoga
great.
class and I was amazed at
I did
how,
hot
Really?
yoga.
how well he killed it.
I crushed it.
I did. Well, it wasn't even hot yoga. It was like they called it a warm environment. And I'm already the sweatiest person
Warm environment
alive
yoga.
in a regular environment, in a room temperature workout class. I'm the sweatiest person there. So, like, you can't even imagine what it was like for me in quote unquote warm environment. I was sweating absolute buckets. Like, it was crazy. Also, because it's like, I've now realized, oh, I'm the kind of person who needs to bring a small towel to the workout class. So I got that down on lock. I always bring my small towel. The yoga class, I'm like, I need a big towel for my whole mat because I'm slipping all over this mat right now. I need a big towel.
You're like, why are you slapping ass at Solid Core? And they're like, why are you standing on a pile of wet towels? Why is this slimy girl standing on a mountain of wet towels?
Literally always just like, how is nobody drenched right now?
What if we found out there was like an old young podcast and they just complained about slimies at workout class?
Fair.
I am a slave. Listen, if the sneakies want to complain about slimies, fair. Because
Yeah.
I am slimy.
All right, she's slipping and sliding.
I am
slipping and
slipping and
sliding.
sliding.
Yeah. Oh, I could have sworn I had something. Well, never mind.
Well, never mind.
Actually,
Anyways,
never
but it's
mind.
like if I'm already like that in a normal workout class, you can only imagine me in the hot yoga or
Moderately
in this case,
warm.
in this
Warm
case, the warm
environment.
yoga.
That feels like their air conditioner broke and they had to like somehow market it as an intentional choice for the class.
Or they just don't want to pay for AC.
Yeah.
But then at the end, like the teacher, she was like took out a towel and like started fanning me, and I was like, I really hope she does this to everybody. And then she did, but I was the first person, so I was really worried that she was just gonna do it to me.
tense.
I mean, that's kind of like priests washing your feet.
The
Yeah.
yoga teacher,
Instructors
the yoga
fanning
teacher
you.
fanning you.
Yeah.
That'd be so. She just fans you, and then she just goes back to like the front of the class. You're like, aren't you gonna get everyone else? She's like,
You're not gonna fan anyone else.
no,
They
I'm not.
only they only fan the sweatiest person.
Yeah.
They picked the sweatiest
And they
person in every
picked me.
class.
But when we did hot yoga, similar to when I did dance, I'm kind of like, it's only the most embarrassing thing would be
Not
to give
trying,
would be
yeah.
to not try and to give less than 100%. So I actually did quite well.
Definitely.
But also the hot yoga instructor, she was into astrology in a very religious way. And
Yeah.
I'm not even one of those people that really cares about astrology, but it was interesting because I'm like, oh, I didn't know people actually. She spoke about it like not as like, oh, a fun thing, but as like, no, this is seriously the doctrine I follow, and then we're really going to explore that.
We were at astrology church.
We're at astrology church.
Yeah.
And that's
Wow.
that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a secular hot yoga.
It was
class.
not secular.
It was not secular.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else on that?
No, I mean that was kind of it. I was just like, oh, I didn't know people actually took this seriously. Because that was one of the things where when I moved to LA, people are always complaining about like, oh, everyone here believes in astrology. Isn't that dumb? And it's like I've never heard anyone really talk about astrology.
Except for this lady.
I feel
No,
like
they
I've
don't
heard-
talk about
I
it
feel
to
like
you.
to me.
Because you
'Cause
give
you're not
off
welcoming.
vibes of like, I'm not going to care or
But I'm
listen.
perfectly welcoming to it. But
Okay.
I feel
Are
like-
you?
Well, you know what? I'm actually.
You don't even know what time you were born.
I was born at 11 a.m.
But
Did you
is
just make that
down to
up?
the minute? No, you were. I got him on the co-star.
I asked mom and she told me, but now I can't remember.
But real quick, I do want to say I am far more annoyed by people complaining about people who talk about astrology than I've
people
ever
talk
been
about
by people talking about
astrology.
astrology.
Well, I always thought this were like, and I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum, and I'm actually doing a YouTube video called "Everything I Know About Astrology" after we finish this
Oh, you're
podcast episode
plugging your other projects
that I haven't even made yet. But we talk about how like it's like if girls can humor guys talking about sports, guys should have a little
tea.
more
True.
sense of humor about
But then
listening to astrology.
There is
like,
that joke that like you ask a guy is rising and he knows, and then you know he's ran through.
Exactly. That's
You're
also
like,
very
"Someone
true."
cooked here.
Yeah, but like I do think
And I've seen the other side of that joke, which is like you're watching football with your girlfriend, and she goes, "Why are they playing man coverage when a zone would beat this offense more effectively?" And you're just like,
cooked here.
"Oh no!"
This bitch for the streets.
But yeah, like, why are you so worked up about it? Like, who cares?
So real.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's certain conversation topics that are like you try them on when you don't have a personality, but you
Yes.
need a ready-made personality.
Yeah.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? People talk about astrology too much.
Pineapple on pizza.
Is a hot dog
Pineapple
a
on
sandwich?
pizza? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Cereal soup.
Yeah. Where did my twin brother go after his ski accident? You know, these are things people just talk about. And no one wants to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, I do think sometimes it's better to just embrace the basic.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I don't
That's
know where I was
tea.
going with that.
That's tea as fuck.
I feel toxic. I feel like you guys are toxic gaslighters.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's me gaslighting you that we are toxic gaslighters, but saying we are because we're not. Okay, anyways. Someone on the last app said that like we're an Adderallized LA pod. And I'm like,
all of
We're
us
actually
are
a
sober.
deeply
Correct.
sober pod.
we're
Yeah.
literally straight edge AF.
We're
We are
straight edge
literally
AF.
straight edge. Robert and I had one. We both had like, I didn't even finish my cocktail. Robert had one cocktail last Friday, and we were hungover until Sunday.
Well, I literally like the next day I got up like, ugh, like you think I had a bender. I had one mojito.
And I had like 3/4 of a margarita.
Yeah. And then we had to just like, you know.
And we were hungover till
We were,
Sunday.
I swear to God, I like passed out.
Yeah.
It took me out. Well, now we have the thing where I'm like, no, I have to like remind myself to have alcohol because I would like to be able to enjoy one cocktail occasionally.
It does suck
without
that it seems like
ruining
it's
my
like
life.
all or nothing. Like
Yeah.
if you just go a little too long without drinking, the second you drink, it
Your body's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What is this?
yeah, like we've developed an allergy to alcohol.
Yeah, and it sucks. And I'm trying to, you know, I've got to remind
Like, we
myself
don't
to
want
fight
to
it.
be lame teetotalers, but it
That's
does
just
seem
how
like
we
it's
be.
going that direction. Yeah.
It's like I don't want to drink, but also I want to be able to have a drink once every 2 months. But the problem is
Yeah.
if you only have one drink every 2 months, that drink's going to ruin your life.
And then it's also going to make you feel like you don't want one for another 2 months.
Yeah.
And thus, that's why we're losers.
Yeah.
It's because of the way that alcohol interacts with body chemistry.
So this joke's on you, mister. They're an Adderallized podcast. No, we're actually fucking losers.
Yeah.
Right.
We're just losers.
Also, I quit Adderall, famously. I was on Adderall. And you know what I used it for? I used it to get my Mount Longmore demolished. And then
And it
I
worked.
quit it.
She hit it and quit it.
She hit
I
it
hit
and
it and
quit
quit
it.
it. I did use it to help my habit forming. And it really was effective.
And then you formed the habits.
I would say Adderall in short bursts can definitely be helpful. If you need to like kickstart a new habit, maybe get some meth from your doctor.
Get some meth.
Get some doctor meth.
Maybe get
Maybe
some.
you
Maybe
need
get a little
meth.
doctor meth. Yeah, no, I think my brief stint on Adderall dramatically accelerated my improvements in my
Yeah.
life. Helped me clean my room, helped me get my laundry done, and yeah.
And guys, this podcast is sponsored by Big Pharma. So
I can't wait till we're sponsored by Big Pharma.
I'd love to be
I'm
sponsored by
not
Big
going to be
Pharma.
influenced by Big Pharma ruined my life.
Well, Big Pharma is currently
But also
ruining my
saved
life.
it.
Right.
Is Excedrin considered Big Pharma?
Yeah.
Is that the headache stuff?
It's the headache stuff.
Yeah.
Because I never took medicine. Like I was like, I mean, I would
Yeah.
like, you know, I was about to be like, I would, but like, no, I literally didn't.
No,
I mean,
you
I would get
didn't.
vaccines and shit, but like, I like
No,
never.
no,
No.
no, no.
No.
Well, because he did a lot of research.
Remember when you were anti-vax?
Well, it's because I thought that that's what it did to RFK's. I thought they made RFK talk like that.
Dude,
right.
RFK's been real sneaky because he's kind of letting people believe that vaccines are why he talks like
RFK
that.
I literally thought, I was like, did the vaccine do that to him? Then he's right to be anti-vax.
RFK has made me terrified of food dye.
That's the thing. RFK is kind of very vague about why he talks like that. So he makes you think that whatever thing he hates today is why he talks like that.
like that.
I'm like, I don't want to talk like that.
I'm like, oh my god, the food dye.
Yeah.
It's the food dye.
It's like the food dye.
I'm
It's
like, that's why he talks like that. And
Yeah.
they're like the vaccines. That's why he talks like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you saying? Excedrin.
Well,
Robert
Excedrin,
loves
and then
Excedrin.
I literally like,
But I had to like force him to take it.
She did the
it's
first
like
time.
mango.
But the first time I had a headache, and Dana gave me Excedrin, and 20 minutes later the headache was gone.
And you were like,
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Miracle.
Literally, it was because I'm like, I used to get a headache, and then I just have a headache, and I'd be like, well, I guess this is just a day I'll have a headache.
I mean, my mom always says better living through chemistry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like it's better living if you like take this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, my mom's a big proponent of all anti-inflammatories, like a
Right.
big pusher of Ibu. Big pusher.
Ibu's never really connected with me.
Okay.
But then again, really nothing but Excedrin has.
Ibu's never
Okay.
really connected with me.
all right.
Should we do a tasting segment? Where
Yeah.
should we do a Big
Different
Pharma
pain
mukbang?
meds. Big Pharma
It's just me taking pills.
Dude.
I love that.
We just create like a microclimate of the opioid crisis.
I love that.
Yeah.
Or it's like each pod we take a different med and see how it affects the pod.
Well, okay, so on White Lotus, Parker Posey's character is addicted to lorazepam,
Right.
which is Ativan, which I have also been addicted to. I used to have a big benzo issue, specifically Klonopin, which is the benzo with the longest half-life, which means it lasts the longest in your system. And I would take benzos in high school to the point where it would give me like severe memory loss. And these two kids in my Spanish class convinced me that I took my shirt off in front of the Spanish class.
and you were like,
And I literally, and for like the whole year, I believed that I had
Wow.
taken my shirt off in Spanish
But
class.
actually, you hadn't.
I hadn't.
Whoa.
But they knew that I would forget things because of the benzos. But I remember the time I was like, oh, this is a big problem, is I went to Spanish class and the teacher was handing back a test. And I was like, oh, I actually haven't taken this test yet. And she was like, yeah, you did. And she hands me back my test and I look at it and I swear, like I got like a B+. And I was looking at it and I was like, I have no idea what any of this means.
It's so funny.
And I was
that
like, oh, fuck.
so many of your complaints about school
What?
are like you say it like I was a loser, I was unpopular. It's like it sounds like you have far deeper issues going
You
on.
lose it.
There's
Yeah,
so
that's
many
like-
more sinister forces at
that's
play
so
here.
real. Maybe we do take benzos because like we always like talk about the same things every episode. We're always
Yeah.
like we forgot we talked about poopy,
There's
so then we just
benzos in
talk
our
about
water.
poopy every
about
time. Every time we're like survivor poopy, survivor.
And if ever
poopy.
you hear a topic and you're like, oh, that's a great new topic, I haven't heard that before, we've talked about it off camera so many times.
Yeah.
We've run it around.
Well, because sometimes we're like, oh, should we not talk about this IRL? Should we say it for the pod? But it's like the truth is we're constantly rehashing the same topics on and
Yeah.
off pod regardless, so it really doesn't matter.
Also,
Do
we
you guys
brief-
mind? Yeah, Golden Raiders.
What if they're like,
win?
yes, be new, please?
Okay, what's something really new we can talk about that we've never mentioned before?
the LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
I had that in my topic list.
Okay, so Robert, do you want to
Well, okay, so Dana and I
Made a movie.
made a feature film. It's an independent feature comedy, and we'll promote it later. But it's in the midst of its festival run right now. Go to our Instagram, follow the prospect.
Prospect.
Also follow the young old Instagram
Yes.
for fuck's sake. We're
For
really trying
frick's
to really
sake.
trying to build it up
For
a little bit.
Lord's sake.
Yeah.
Be a collaborator
Yeah,
already.
be a collaborator.
And
Yeah.
accept our invitation to collaborate
We're
on
really
Reels.
trying to build up the young old Instagram, and by we I mean 2/3 of us. So really trying. But
Okay, clip this.
dude, what happens when it goes viral?
Okay, clip it.
Clip
okay,
that.
clip that.
Clip that. Clip that. Oh, clip that.
Okay.
Anywho, we had to like get our ducks in a row from like a professional standpoint. So we were like, oh, we should create LinkedIn so we'll be able to connect with like, potential distributors, sales agents, people in the industry. And so Dana and I both pulled up LinkedIn and proceeded to have like a Cold War across the bedroom.
A LinkedIn off.
Because Dana wanted to make her banner photo.
She was like, doing all sorts of stuff on her phone and her computer, and she's like smiling, and she's so proud of what she's
And we're
created.
like, while she's creating her LinkedIn page.
And she flips around the computer, and it's like, first of all, profile pictures, her in a bikini with sunglasses on, or no, earmuffs or something.
Yeah.
I think it used to be the old young
Yeah, it
old
was the
old
young old photo.
But it's her in a bikini with earmuffs, and then the banner photo is like a little
clip art Photoshop
art photo.
of like multiple Danas, I think on a pink background.
Walking biter.
walking biter. But
biter.
it's just like the teeny cutout was just like so hilarious looking. Like I can't even begin to describe it.
Yeah.
But it was just not giving,
LinkedIn.
professional.
LinkedIn. It's not giving LinkedIn.
But I wanted to make it my own.
But then that's not LinkedIn.
And then obviously, and I was like, oh, it looks great.
Well,
and then
this was an instance where I could feel Eve was because I was like, obviously you have to change that. And I could feel Eve desperately wanting to disagree with me, but knowing in her bones that this is
it
a
wasn't
lie.
for LinkedIn.
This is not
and
for
also because
LinkedIn.
Robert's like, you're in a bikini. And she was like, you can't, it looks like a tank top. You can't tell.
Yeah.
He's like, but it is a bikini.
It is a bikini. I was like, you're in a bikini. People will think it's a tank top, but we know it is a
But
bikini.
we know it also.
Also, even a tank top.
Aside from the bikini, it was just a lot. It was
was a
just
lot.
And then we're like, okay, fine, like show us your LinkedIn then. And Robert's bragging about how many connections he has.
Well,
and
my LinkedIn was the one I
etc.
actually used, and I had when I was like working like
In film marketing.
actual like
Anyways, and
business
he's
jobs.
like, fine, and then pulls up his LinkedIn photo, and it's what we abbreviated as JOSGB.
Yeah.
What does that stand for, Eve?
So it's for jerking off on Skype, gray background.
The picture was just a plain picture of me in a polo with kind of a gray background.
It was giving like webcam jerk
It was giving
off.
web-
It was
Yeah,
not
like-
giving webcam jerk
Just
off.
under where the
Yeah.
photo crops.
Yeah, it like
He's
No.
jerking off on Skype.
That's
I
what
was
it
not
looked
jaying
like.
off on
but that was
Skype.
the vibe of the photo.
It was the vibe of the
It was
That's
photo.
just
not
like
the vibe.
And so we were like, we were just
LinkedIn
cackling.
professional vibe.
It was not a professional.
It's a great. I just had a great cover photo, just a plain picture of me wearing
Plain
business
picture. It
casual.
was like the
no
most
one was jaying off.
Poorly lit webcam.
Yeah. Poorly
Poorly
lit
lit.
wa-
But
Yeah.
also, my LinkedIn worked. I had a lot of connections. It was updated,
And he wouldn't
and
stop
it had jobs.
talking about the connections. He would
Yeah,
stop
and
talking
we're
about
like,
the connections.
What's your photo though?
Yeah.
It was just a normal photo.
But then
It
we were
wasn't
like,
meant
who
to be
are
like
you?
high
Who
fashion.
are you to say anything when you are JOSGB?
Because mine was a real LinkedIn page that
on Skype
worked.
gray background.
when you're jerking off on
Skype
Skype
gray
gray
background.
background.
Yeah. But mine was a real LinkedIn page
Anyways,
that functioned
and then
as
they
a
were both
LinkedIn
like,
page.
They were like, okay, like let's do a challenge. Like after a week, like we'll both put like do our LinkedIn's. We'll see what's the most connection. Literally next
We've-
day, never opened a
looked
We've
at LinkedIn.
never looked at
We've
LinkedIn
never
since.
looked at LinkedIn
We've
since.
never done a
We had
single thing with
like,
LinkedIn
whose
since.
LinkedIn is going to be better.
We
Like,
literally-
they
never
were both
looked at it
so
again.
pumped
We're
about
like,
the
we'll see what
LinkedIn
your LinkedIn is
challenge.
doing in 2 weeks. I know what my LinkedIn will be. We'll see what your LinkedIn is doing. And then we haven't looked at it
We
since
haven't
that
looked
day.
at it.
Like it was so
Like,
intense. The
yeah.
challenge was so intense, and then the next day nobody gave
No.
a shit
We don't give a shit.
about
Yeah.
the LinkedIn.
In one
Yeah.
year out the other, I'm done with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I don't give a frick anymore.
I mean, I still have that LinkedIn, but it's like the old LinkedIn, and it worked fine. And I had a lot of
He's
connections.
still
And I
JOSGB. You
wasn't-
look
I
him
wasn't
up
J-
right now. It's JOSGB.
No, it
Earl
wasn't
Schultz.
JOSGB.
And tell us what you think. Go look up Robert's LinkedIn and tell us if
Yeah.
you think it's
Well,
JOSGB.
they won't be able to find it because it was under my old name.
I just said your birth name.
my business name, Earl Schultz.
He just doxed you,
Mm-hmm.
so
You dox me, you're gonna find my LinkedIn, and you're gonna be like, I want to hire this person as a low-paid office worker to disrespect for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if my LinkedIn was so shitty, then how come it led to some of the worst jobs I've ever had in my life? Oh, if my
Dude,
LinkedIn was so
facts.
bad, how come it directly led to some of the worst experiences I've ever had?
I had a LinkedIn that got me the only office job I ever had.
Yeah, and that office job was I know the boss was a pervert, so.
Yeah.
Well, the boss, like, he didn't have a Filipino wife.
Yeah.
And didn't he really overpay you to just like hang out and then he would like clean his car with you?
Yeah.
It's like personal errands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I did have to quit to do comedy.
there you go.
And that's how comedy saved my life.
Wow.
Saved me from getting murdered.
Save you from
by
getting
that
murdered.
man.
Or saved him from murdering his wife and trying to replace her with you. Dude, the best job I ever had though, it was a remote job that we call it PDF job.
Right.
Where literally what I did was this company, I think it was like data entry, but it was 2 weeks paid training. So I just did the 2 weeks paid training remote.
then he dipped.
And then I quit immediately. I didn't never work the job.
But also, it's unclear as to what they were training him to do. Like,
It was, I remember, I mean, look, the training was like you're supposed to spend all day studying PDFs and then taking little quizzes about the PDFs that outline what the job is. But the thing was, like, you could take these quizzes and it's like, even if you didn't read the PDFs, you could probably guess and check. And
Was it time?
no, well, we still
We're
have like
almost
15
done.
minutes.
so, anyway, so I could just like take the quizzes, get a passing grade, and I would just skip the PDFs and I would get my work done in 15 minutes. And then I would just have the laptop open and move the mouse around. 2 weeks, full time. As soon as my training was over, they sent instructions for, okay, now here are your job responsibilities. And, I replied, I quit. And because it was COVID, it was they supplied the laptop. Because it was
Yeah.
COVID, I literally just dropped the laptop off in the middle of a parking lot
Yeah.
and drove away.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 weeks full time.
Pretty epic.
I also did phone banking for Gavin Newsom. It was paid phone banking. Apparently, there's a recall election a couple years back, and I was paid to phone bank. And people would get so mad because they hate to be called.
Yeah.
And I would just stick to the script, and I crushed it. People would like
Damn.
scream at me, and I would just stick to the script.
He was a model employee.
Yeah.
But then he called this one guy on 9/11.
It was September 11th that I happened to be doing this. And then I go, hi, have you heard about the Gavin Newsom recall election? And he goes, do you know what day it is today? And I'm like flipping through my pages. I'm like, Gavin Newsom is a loyal servant. He goes, it's September 11th.
Gavin Newsom is
He's like, do you really think it's appropriate to be calling me on September 11th? The nearest voting center to you is... And also the thing
Also,
about...
I don't really get the relevance. Like,
I think his whole thing
I
is
think
like
he
it's
was just-
disrespectful,
yeah, it's disrespectful to, like-
to be doing politics
Yeah,
on
on
September
September
11th.
11th.
Because I don't know if you know this,
Okay.
in September 11th, 2001, 2 planes flew into the World Trade Center.
That was before he was born.
It was before
Yeah.
he was born.
I don't know about all that.
You know, Eve doesn't know about all that.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
Biter also, by the way, was he was like licking himself through a lot of the pod, and I've been trying to ignore it, but he's been doing it. So this is smut.
Yeah,
This is
because he's
puppy
an
smut.
alpha and he's cucking you.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
would be intimidated.
Also, I don't know if it's like cucking to like, sorry to be crass again, but like suck your own dick in front of others.
No, that's cucking.
Yeah.
That's not cucking.
Well, also it's bragging because you can't do that.
That is true.
Yeah.
Also, Dana made an OnlyFans trailer for
Oh, yeah.
Biter.
For
which
Biter's
is
OnlyFans, where it's just like sexy, jazzy music and it's him humping
Orangina. And it is
It's
spicy.
spicy.
Orangino is the name of this orange pillow that Biter humps.
Yeah.
That Robert sleeps on.
That I sleep on.
Because he's constantly getting cucked by an alpha male.
I walked inside yesterday and this door was ajar, and as I pushed it open, Biter was literally climbing off Orangina.
He came
Climbing
in for
off.
a quick, discreet
It was like that moment in the
romp.
rom-com when I realized I'm being cheated on.
Yeah.
Dude.
Brutal.
He can't keep his paws off her.
He
She's
can't.
irresistible.
It's a real problem.
irresistible.
Anything else? Anything pop culture we can touch on?
I've been watching tons of videos about famous music producers explaining how they worked on famous songs, a lot of Benny Blanco. And they always make me laugh so hard because all these famous songs have really kind of like base, rudimentary, like stupid beginnings. So it feels like every clip is like Benny Blanco being like, well, yeah, you know how we came up with Payphone from Maroon 5, you know that song? And it's just some other guy who really doesn't need to be there. He's like, yeah, I know Payphone. And he goes, yeah. So originally I was just like on a tour bus and I had a really long fart and I recorded it in a voice memo. And so I put that fart in the studio and then we just added Adam Levine's vocals over it, took the fart sound out, and that's how you get Payphone. And every video has 500,000 likes.
Every song that was ever produced started with Benny Blanco farting. And then
Yeah.
they took the farts out.
And they took the farts out.
And then they
And the
laid
farts
down the
out.
vocals.
and that's We Are Who We Are.
Yeah.
And then that's Your Love
And that's
Is
who
My
that's Your
Drug.
Love Is My Drug.
So,
Little look behind the curtain.
Yeah, and I love it. I'm gonna keep watching these videos and liking them.
and then we were also talking about, because we live near, we're talking about how sad
Should we
that-
say that?
Oh, sorry.
We can't say that.
Okay.
We can't say that.
We can
Never
say
mind.
Don't clip that.
No, no, we can't say that.
No.
We don't live near anyone.
Except for our neighbor.
Except for our neighbor.
Oh,
We wanna
okay.
issue a formal
this
apology
is
to.
good. And
Okay.
we want Dana and I we felt bad
Yeah,
about
I've just been feeling
venting about our
bad.
neighbor.
Because I
Yeah,
also
whatever, bruh.
I knew Eve wouldn't give a
Robert was
shit.
like, I know you won't care about
Whatever,
that. I would just like to say, if
Whatever,
you
bruh.
saw the episode where you said
I'm
that
just like, I think you're
you're bald
delusional that
and
you
she
think
hates
he's gonna
you.
see it.
Well, but it is like it was the
I don't
fact
think
that
I'm delusional for thinking that this podcast could reach the masses.
No, but
Yeah.
him
of which
specifically
he is a part.
No,
that's why Eve doesn't want to co-post reels because he's a follower on her Instagram.
Bruh.
No, but we were just like, because here's the thing. He was so cool and polite when
Yeah.
we did tell him to quiet down. And in a way, it was on us for never telling him to quiet down.
Also, I realized, who are we to mock someone for thinking that just because they're growing old, that doesn't mean they have to grow up? Who are we?
I'm doubling down.
Eve's doubling down.
I don't give a fuck.
Anyway,
Yeah. No, he
if you're
does yell at
watching
those
this,
dogs, and it'd be
sir-
great if he
yells-
stopped.
Oh wait, tell them about the dog.
Oh my god, no, we can't.
Jumping
keep-
into
we
the car.
can't.
No, we can't. We
We
can't. We
can't.
can't. No.
Y'all are bootlickers.
We're
Y'all
a
We're
are
not. I'm not being a bootlicker. I'm just like, I think that
Dana,
it's,
speaking of weird bootlickers,
What?
we were talking and some of us came up. It's like I'm gonna get a rib removed just so I can lick my own boots.
Yeah.
So I can be a bootlicker.
Yeah, so I can
Be
bootlick.
even more effective bootlicker.
Yeah.
okay. But basically they are constantly yelling at their dogs, which is just like,
We talked about this.
okay, well, anyways. And then
Here's what I will say.
one of the dogs ran and jumped into their car.
We're not. We are sorry.
we
Because the dog
live
is
your
trying
We are
truth.
sorry.
It's
Live
a
your
piece
truth.
We live your
household.
truth.
We respect whatever.
We respect
we
it.
respect
Have your
you.
fun.
Live your life. We'll
Who are
live
we?
ours.
Who are we?
Who are we?
Who are we?
Y'all are flip floppers.
We're flip floppers.
I think it's okay to change your mind. I think it's
I don't-
okay to be convicted by your conscience.
I don't.
Also,
Did
now
you just take your arm away from me?
Oh, we're not doing
God,
this
we
again.
can't
We
do
can't
this
do this
again.
again. We can't do this again.
My orange.
No.
Wait,
No.
All right, reach out for my hand. Sorry, it was instinct.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I wanted to bring up.
One thing I
Well,
want
we
to.
don't really care what you have to bring up.
Yeah.
So
So I kind of feel like we're just going to keep rejecting everything
Yeah.
you bring up. Here's something I do believe is we were on a walk. We were walking Biter, and there was another person was walking two dogs, and their dogs were much bigger than Biter, and they were barking furiously. They were barking, and they were like leaping at Biter, and the leash was taut on both
Yeah.
dogs, and the owner was kind of very like chill, casual, and they gave us one of these looks like
You know how
What
dogs
can you
be,
do?
yeah.
as if it's like you know what dogs do, and it's like
Yeah.
dogs don't do that.
No.
Your dogs are
our
doing that.
dog is well behaved.
I'm also, you don't get to look at me like, well, you get it. It's like, I genuinely don't get it.
Like, look at our perfect pup.
Look
Is
at
he
this
doing
dog.
that?
The dog's not saying anything. The dog, dare I say, all alpha behavior leaves the dog's body as soon as he's not, humping my pillow. Because these other dogs are barking, and in dog language, these other dogs are like screaming at him.
Well,
They're
because
like,
he's thinking to himself, I'm rubber, you're glue.
Yeah,
Rubber,
yeah,
you're glue,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
rubber, you're
yeah,
glue.
yeah.
Suddenly
That's
he's like,
him as he walks past barking
yeah.
dogs.
But my thing is, if you've got a dog that is like being really aggressive and barking, I'm going to need you to, in 3 sentences or less, really quickly explain to me how this is not your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
That's
actually,
your
it's your
fault.
fault. You need to train the dog.
It's your fault.
tea.
So you need to, as soon as that happens, you need to be like, I just rescued them from a really abusive environment. And I'm like, all right, I get it.
I just rescued them from Lena Dunham.
I just rescued
Yeah.
them from Lena Dunham.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, fine, I get it.
We get it.
But you can't just be like, well, this is what dogs do.
Right. Because it's like not.
It's not.
It's not. Also, you are responsible for your dog's behavior, for better or for worse.
People hate to think that. It's like, no, you're responsible for your dog's behavior.
It's like, where do you think they learn anything?
It's you,
It's
clearly.
you. Dogs, I don't think are naturally good or bad. I think they
But he
are.
is naturally such a little.
Well, he
sweet
is a little
boy.
angel, but,
But
we talked
he
about this.
used to be
Biter
more
used to be more
diabolical.
menacing.
He used to be more like
And then the
active
pandemic
and
had
crazy.
us full time home with him, and then we realized that most dogs, it seems like, probably are left alone too much.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the
Like,
deal.
that's the real
Here's what I
truth.
do
Also
believe.
in LA specifically,
Yeah.
like
If you live in a big city and you have a dog and you make your dog live in your tiny apartment, that is animal
and you're never
abuse.
home.
You're never home. You leave your dog. It's one thing to like leave your dog alone while you're at work if your dog's like out in the yard. But like if you're leaving your dog in your studio apartment, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you can't
Like,
have
all
a big dog
day?
and make them do that.
Yeah, kind of mean.
I literally just think maybe you don't get to have a Great Dane if you live
That's
in a
so
studio
real.
apartment on the top floor in New York. Maybe you don't get to do that.
Remember that
remember-
movie we
oh.
watched with Freddie Prinze Jr. and all the dogs?
Yeah, and like the supermodels.
Yeah.
Got a crisp, I believe, like 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think that's one where Rotten Tomatoes might have had it right.
Yeah, sometimes Rotten Tomatoes
We
gets
talk
it
a lot
right.
about like Rotten Tomatoes doesn't get it, man,
Yeah.
and that one they got
yeah,
it.
that one. They
Well,
really
I
got
always
it.
say like the Rotten Tomatoes score is is counterintuitive. If it's low, great movie. High, terrible movie.
Terrible movie.
Terrible movie.
Yeah.
Give me a 40%.
But one time there was like a fire alarm at my boyfriend's apartment building, and it was a legit zoo outside. Everybody and their animals were out on the street, and it was a full on zoo. So
crazy.
many animals.
It's crazy. It's a little bit like it is a little bit like no, and I'm not saying like don't have a pet. You can have a cat. You can have a small dog. I think
No,
that's probably
there
fine.
were lots of
But
big
a
dogs.
big ass dog.
There were lots of big ass dogs.
I'm like maybe, and also like that's mean to the dog.
Yeah. And your neighbors, it's like if you leave that huge dog there all day, it's gonna be running around, barking, like
Yeah.
peeing. The pee soaks through the roof.
The pee soaks through the roof.
Dude,
dripping
me
pee.
standing
It's
under,
dripping.
me standing under the
pee
ceiling.
on you.
All right, you have to co-post this. You're co-posting this reel.
This
You
is
have
what-
to co-post
This is
this.
what they choose to clip, and then they're like, "It's invited you to collaborate." And I'm like, you expect me? You expect me to co-sign this?
As if we held a gun to your head and said,
Yeah.
talk about the pee dripping.
Yeah.
Talk about the pee dripping. No, we were just talking about pet ownership.
Who is so cute? But that's
Talk about
because
pet
I'm
ownership.
unfiltered on the pod, and on IG I'm extremely
She's extremely filtered.
So it's like you expect me to post me unfiltered.
Clip that. Clip that.
Clip that.
You're gonna
Hold
really
up.
want to see this if you're
Yeah.
on audio.
Clip that.
If you're on audio, you need to sprint to a computer and go to this
You need to
timestamp right
sprint here
now.
as fast as you can.
No.
Oh, I think it's time to say
Yeah.
goodnight to the young oldenators.
All right.
Good
And that song originally originally was us farting on the track.
We removed the fart.
And we took the farts
And then we added the
out.
vocals.
And we took
And
the
now we
vocal
have
of
this
song.
song. Good night.